Yeah.
This younger generation is so capable and so much more prepared. They are prepared. They're technically savvy. They're very smart. Um, a certain percentage of them are very ambitious, right? Um, it's just, I think as an industry, we have a major challenge in front of us. And Steve hit on it too, is like, how do you train a field landman now when you can't just put them at the hip with somebody in the courthouse and they can start by just running names, and then next they're indexing a document, and then before you know it they're chaining title, and then it progresses and builds, and they're next to the person, and I can say, Khalil, what does this mean? You know, um, you can't do that anymore. It's rare and rare. You can't send a trainee to someone's house. You know, hey, go to this person's house and sit in their, their office and work with them. You know, it's just it's a difficult thing to do, to ask someone to do, because hell, we can say it. We've got people in 30 different states that work for us, live all over the country. You don't have these hubs of people working generally in the
Yeah.
same part of the world. Unfortunately, training is for independent contractors, for brokerage companies, is a serious concern from a Department of Labor standpoint. We can't risk. The Department of Labor dictates that you can't train people to do their work and still call them an independent contractor. Um, Department of Labor calls that an employee. Therefore, an employee, if they're an employee, you have to pay them as such and offer them benefits as such. And that's all fine and dandy. I would love to employ, hundreds and hundreds of people. Our clients, the day rates, unfortunately, that are out there don't support that. The cost to employ someone goes up every year by double digits, in all honesty. Our insurance rates go up double digits every year. I mean, subscriptions, everything's a software as a service. I got companies every year increasing our rates that they charge us for services that we have to have by 5 to 7% every year automatically. And these are things that are required for us to do things such as submit our invoices and, build production reports and do all the things that we need to do. But unfortunately, day rates haven't gone up, proportionately. And it affects a lot of different things: our ability to employ these people and bill them accordingly, our ability to show a future where a young landman coming into the field side of the business can make a respectable and decent and honest living. um, I've got 25 years of data in our land system and our billing system that shows that day rates have effectively stayed flat for the last 15, 20 years. um, and there's a whole lot of factors that, lead to that. Competition is one of those things. There's a broker around every corner that's willing to do it cheaper. But what we've done to ourselves is we've handicapped ourselves as an industry in the field side of things. If you hire a young landman, a young field person, and they're ambitious, they have a college degree, they want to make a good living, they want to buy a house and live the American dream and raise a family, and not have to have both of the parents working full time everywhere. And you tell them that the most you'll make is $105,000 a year. That is not an appealing thing for someone who's bright and ambitious and young and wants to work. It just is what it is. $100,000 now is not what it was 15 years ago. And I guess as an industry, and until we can get to the point where we can recognize that and do something about it, and not undercut ourselves, and you know, and just bow down to what's pushed on us from a rate standpoint, I don't see how we can dig out of it. In all honesty,
Is this a conversation you're having with other brokers?
yes,
Hmm.
it comes up all the time. It comes up when you get busy, like the last couple years. We've had, and obviously we've talked a lot about Dudley's consistent growth as a company, and we're not the only ones, right? We're not just this anomaly. It's the business has grown. The renewables has added a demand for landmen. A lot of good companies out there, but when you get to this point where you're at this consistent level of growth and volume of work, um, you end up with people in the business that are here that are still doing it, willing to work for, you know, less money. But maybe what they're doing, they're double billing. We hear a lot of talk in the business about people billing 2 and 3 projects at once. Your deliverables are less polished than they once were. Um, People can't recruit young landmen. I hear this. I have this conversation with brokers all the time. You know, our counterparts in the space. Um, and so you'd love to bring in some new people and invest in them and train them and show them a high ceiling, but they're not willing to do it. You know, unless they're just, you know, and maybe in a good place and are okay with that ceiling. Um, and so it's causing a lot of problems, and everybody's feeling the pain. The product suffers, our ability to staff suffers, the turnaround times suffer because you have to wait for a good landman to come available to start on a project. So these are all things that we're trying to find creative ways to solve. Steve and Brandon and I talk about it constantly. Um, and we're pretty crafty fellas, and we've been doing this a long time. And I can't necessarily say that at this point we have the answer or have been able to put something into practice, large scale, that really addresses the issues that we're all facing.
We had dinner with a real good friend of ours it was a field landman for a long time, and then he got an in-house job. And we had a deal with their company, and then there wasn't another project after that, and there was like some price concerns and others, like Brent said, everyone around the corner is cheaper. But he made a really good comment at dinner. He goes, a lot of the folks who are in house who don't have that field experience, they call themselves landmen and they're landmen. Then landmen need to be helping other landmen, right? We need the support of our clients and these in-house land folks to stand up for these field agents and go, you know what? That we need higher rates. We need some more ammunition to bring a younger crowd into this industry. So I thought that was a pretty good comment that he had of we need landmen to help other landmen.